Previous episode, we uncovered some of the darkest and most disturbing experiments carried out during World War II, but what you've heard so far was only part of the story, because when the war finally began to come to an end, many people believed that everything connected to those secret experiments would disappear, buried along with the chaos and destruction of the conflict. But that's not what happened. Instead, something far more complex and unsettling began to unfold. Nations started to rebuild, and the world slowly tried to move forward. Hidden operations were already taking place behind the scenes. Governments and intelligence agencies began searching for information, not just weapons, not just technology, but knowledge. The knowledge created during those secret experiments. Documents were collected, reports were analyzed, and scientific data, gathered under extreme and questionable conditions, was carefully examined. Despite how it was obtained, some of it was considered valuable, and that created a serious moral dilemma. What do you do with knowledge that was built in such a dark way? Do you destroy it, knowing that it came from actions that crossed every ethical line? Or do you study it, hoping it could lead to future advancements? This was not a simple decision, because for the first time, the world was forced to confront a difficult truth. Science is powerful. Without limits, it can also become dangerous. In the years that followed, some of the individuals involved in these experiments did not simply disappear. Instead, they were quietly brought into new programs, new environments, new projects. Officially, it was about progress, about rebuilding, about using science to create a better future. But behind that official narrative, there were concerns. Even if the experiments themselves had stopped, the mindset that allowed them to happen still existed. The belief that results justify the method, that progress is more important than morality, and that under certain circumstances, rules can be ignored. At the same time, investigations into what had happened during the war were beginning. Trials were organized, evidence was presented, witnesses spoke. And for the first time, many of these hidden actions were exposed to the world. Listened in shock as details were revealed. Stories that sounded impossible, yet were real. Records that showed just how far things had gone. But even during these trials, not everything was revealed. Some documents remained classified. Some information was withheld, and some parts of the truth were never fully uncovered. Because in a world that was trying to recover from war, not everything was meant to be brought to light. Time, however, the impact of these events led to something important, a global realization that science without ethical boundaries could become a threat. And so new rules were created, new standards, new guidelines designed to ensure that nothing like this would ever happen again. These principles would go on to shape modern research and medical ethics. They established that every human life has value, that consent is essential. No experiment should ever ignore the dignity of a person. But even with these rules in place, a question still remained. Are rules enough to stop history from repeating itself? Because history has shown, time and time again, that in moments of fear, of desperation, of ambition, people are capable of crossing lines they once believed were impossible to cross. And that is what makes this story so important. Just because of what happened in the past, but because of what it reveals about human nature. Because the truth is, the danger was never just the experiments themselves. The real danger was the mindset behind them, the willingness to justify anything in the name of progress. Even today, many of these stories remain hidden, stored in archives, locked away in classified files, waiting to be rediscovered. And that is why we continue to tell these stories. History is not just something we learn. It is something we must understand, so that we never repeat the same mistakes, so that we never allow ambition to silence morality, and so that we never forget how thin the line truly is between progress and danger. If you want to see the next part of this story, where we go even deeper into real cases and specific events that shock the world, type part 3 in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because there are still many secrets left to uncover, and many stories that have yet to be told. So now the question is, do you want to see part 3? Because this story goes even deeper, with real cases, shocking events, and details that most people have never heard before. If you want me to continue, just comment part 3 down below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because there are still many hidden stories left to uncover. Your support helps bring these untold stories to light. See you in the next episode.